I'm Chef Mike Moses and welcome to my kitchen. I live in the Maritimes and of course, just down the road is a lot of sand and a lot of clams. What's clams without a nice clam chowder? And we're gonna make that coming up. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. I post new videos every week right here on my channel. Clam chowder is something that we really like here in the Maritimes. And I'm gonna make a very decadent clam chowder with some celery, shallot, potatoes, and two types of clams. For the clam chowder, here's what you're gonna need. A cup of baby clams, quarter of a cup of whole clams, 2 russet potatoes, 1 stalk of celery, going to want some clam juice, half a cup of milk, and a half a cup of heavy cream, plus about a tablespoon of butter. Salt and pepper to taste, 1 shallot, finely diced, and about 500 milliliters or 2 cups of chicken stock. Going to use some little baby clams, and then I'm going to use some long neck clams, which we're going to steam and prepare for you right now. In order to get our clams ready, we've got to rinse them off. We've also got to steam them. A good clam at the supermarket is closed. He's fresh, he's cold, and we need to open him up. In order to do this, you need a pot, about 1/4 inch of water in it, a little bit of salt, and we'll steam up some clams. Okay, we need to turn our pot on to high, add a pinch of salt, and while we're waiting for our water to come up to temperature, let's get our mise en place ready. My dowel strong knife, and we'll cut up the shallots. 1 finely diced shallot, 1 sprig of celery, and we rinse this off, of course. All right, so we've got our shallots and we've got our celery finely chopped. One of my secrets is we're going to saute these first before we add them to the clam chowder. Now that our water is boiling, we're going to add our clams to the boiling water. Do it gently, you don't want to break the shells. And then cover. Your fresh clams will take anywhere from 4 to 5 minutes once they're fully steamed. You can tell when they're done when the shells have opened up. Okay, the clams are cooked, so we'll remove them from the water so we can shell them. You have 2 options here. One is you can use the liquor that you did your clams in. However, I find that it gets to be sandy because clams, of course, live in sand. So we are going to use some pre-filtered clam juice, it's called. We'll let these cool down and then we'll shuck them and we'll get ready to make our clam chowder. Clams are ready, so it's time to remove the clam from the shell. Just take your knife, cut that little muscle, and you have a clam. You can see there's a muscle right here. That's what holds the clam in its shell. And we're going to use these clams just basically for texture. There's our clams shucked. Put our shells away, or we can keep them for the kids to play with. Time to cut our potatoes, and we want to cut them into 1-inch squares so they're easy to cook. You want to make sure your potatoes are the last thing you prepare because they will go brown if you let them sit out for a long time. Time to assemble the clam chowder. So as you know, I'm a big fan of having everything ready to go. I've got my cream, I've got my shallots and celery, I've got my big clams, I've got my baby clams and my clam sauce, and it's all going to be a matter of taste. First thing I want to do though is saute up the shallots and the celery. Turn the burner on to high. I've added about a teaspoon of olive oil, and we want to wait for our olive oil to come up to temperature before we add our shallots and our celery. Okay, oil's up to temperature. Let's add our celery and our shallots. Lightly season, salt, some pepper, and you want to add your 2 cups of chicken stock. Once you've added your 2 cups of chicken stock, you can add your potatoes. And we're going to bring this up to a boil, then reduce the heat and add our clams and our cream. Okay, at this time as well, you want to add about 1/4 cup of clam juice. Now that our mixture has come up to a boil, we're going to reduce the heat down to medium-low so that it will just simmer. We don't want to overcook the potatoes. We want them to maintain their shape and yet still be tender. We're going to add our baby clams and our big clams. The idea behind adding the big clams along with the baby clams is that when you serve the clam chowder, you've got a big clam in each dish. Sort of a surprise. Probably wondering about seasoning. Well, I'm not going to season it right now because there was salt in the clams, there was salt in the clam juice. I already seasoned the shallots and the celery. So we're going to let this go, let those flavors marry up probably for about 20 minutes. Then we're going to add the cream and then the butter, mix that all up, and then we're going to season to taste. You may be asking yourself why I don't add the cream and the butter while I'm waiting for the potatoes to cook. Well, it's quite simple. I don't want that to burn. Potatoes need more heat than the milk and the cream, so I'll let this cook first, marry all the flavors, then we'll add the dairy. You want to test your potatoes? Al dente. That's what we're looking for. Time now to add the cream and the butter. We have a half a cup of 2% milk, then we have a half a cup of heavy cream. There, we add that to our mixture. Stir it around and add to that about 1 tablespoon of butter. Give it a good stir, let the butter melt, then we'll do our seasoning to taste. If you wonder what a chef does while I'm waiting for my food to cook, I drink coffee. You want to be very gentle with this because you don't want your small potatoes to break down. They're part of the texture. Okay, we just got done seasoning. Give it another stir, another taste. That's good. Some clam chowders you get are really, really thick, and that's because some people add a roux. I like my clam chowder not to be that thick. I like to have it as a soup, so we'll dish it up, and I'll serve you some Maritime Clam Chowder. All right, I'll remove it from the heat. Piece of parsley for a decoration, and there is some Maritime Clam Chowder. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And I post videos like this every week, so please subscribe. Also, if you'd like more information, head over to my blog, thepersonalchef.blog, where I post this recipe that you can print off. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to helping you cook better, eat healthier, and shop smarter.